Hi, my name is Penny. Welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'd have a go at making a top 5 Wednesday video. So top 5 Wednesday is kind of like a group in BookTube run by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, and every week there's a theme where you pick your top 5 books for whatever that theme is. So this week the theme is top 5 books with select your own paranormal creature. So I had a look at my favorite books, and from that I determined that possibly my favorite paranormal creature is Shapeshifters. So I've picked out my top 5 series with shapeshifters in them, and I've put them in some kind of order. So I'll start with number 5 and build up to number 1, although the order probably changes depending on my mood. So number 5 I don't have here because I borrowed the books from the library, but it was the Midnight Texas series by Charlene Harris. That series is based in the same world as the True Blood series and has a lot of the same creatures, but instead of being kind of more focused around vampires like the True Blood series, it's set out in this middle of nowhere town called Midnight, where there's a witch. There's also this random old folks home. There is a vampire who runs the old antique store at night. There's some angels, there's all sorts of creatures, but there's also some shapeshifters, so some of the weird tigers end up coming out and getting involved, some of the characters that you see in True Blood. It was a really strange book in that kind of all these different plot lines come together and you kind of feel like nothing's happening, but at the same time you feel a part of the small town, so you really enjoy it. And in this book you have a younger shapeshifter come and kind of be raised by the town. I guess the best way to explain that series is just it's a very comfortable series, even though there's also murder mysteries. I don't know, I quite liked it. Quinn is one of the shapeshifters. If you've read the True Blood series, probably one of my favorite shapeshifters from the True Blood series, so it was nice to kind of see his story expanded outside of that series. So number 4 is from this series, The Books of the Order by Philippa Ballantyne. Philippa Ballantyne's actually a New Zealand author, although she lives in the States at the moment. So it's a 4-book series basically about a world where kind of the barrier between the living and the dead is breaking down, and there's this order that kind of has people with magical abilities who can send the dead back to their own realm and like heal the gaps that the dead have been getting through. There's also a whole bunch of political stuff going on with the emperor, and more importantly, shapeshifters. So one of the characters is a shapeshifter not entirely by choice, so he's been exiled out at sea because while he's out at sea he doesn't change into a creature. It's kind of spoiled by the cover that we're talking about a lion. So he changes into a lion, especially when he gets angry. It's just a really amazing story, and I kind of liked the idea of his shapeshifting being a curse that he kind of throughout the story turns to his advantage. So yeah, this is another great series. Number 3 is from the Bed Trilogy by Sally Green. I know this book had a lot of mixed reviews, but I really liked it. It's somewhat of a spoiler to say which character is the shapeshifter, although this book perhaps gives you a pretty good idea of what creature they turn into. Although actually when I first got these books, like I honestly, this one has a face in it and I never noticed. This one has a wolf and this one is a tree. I just thought they were flames, so yeah, not that observant. But in that series there is a character who can change, and it's really interesting seeing how that kind of different creature's perspective impacts the way that he sees the world. I also think in regards to the mixed reviews that series has, in the last book I sobbed for like a whole 10 minutes. It had such a huge impact on me. I can definitely see there are some bits of the book where the storyline's a bit and maybe the characters aren't that great, but if you can make it to the end, I think that the payoff is totally worth it. So number 2 is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. only own the first book, even though I love this series and I've read the whole thing. So again, it's kind of a spoiler to say which character is the shapeshifter, and in fact, if you've read the whole series, you may even be saying there's no shapeshifter in that series. But what I'm thinking about is a character who turns into another form, not an animal, though. That's like a cryptic clue for people who've read the book. And it was really surprising because you just kind of don't see it coming, although I don't, sorry if I've spoiled that. Just really liked what it added to that particular character. Probably doesn't have that much impact on the plot, but for the character, it was a pretty meaningful discovery. Also, this series is just amazing. All the characters, I wish they could be my best friends, even though I think I'd find them quite annoying. So number 1 is the Kate Daniels series by Ilona Andrews. This is my absolute favorite series in the whole wide world. This is book number 9. Book number 10 comes out soon, and it's going to be the last book in the series. I don't know how I'm going to handle that. I probably have to just go back and give them all a reread. But this book is basically about Kate Daniels. She's a mercenary. I don't really remember what happens in the first book anymore. And telling you anything about what happens in the later books is totally spoiling it. But the world is one where magic has kind of come back. So originally there was magic, then magic kind of died off as technology came in, and then now technology is kind of dying off and magic's coming in again. So magic kind of comes in waves. So sometimes magic will be up and they can do magical spells. And then other times technology comes back and technology works. When magic's up, technology isn't very reliable, although sometimes it works. You kind of just have to see. And you've also got a whole bunch of paranormal creatures. So you've got kind of vampires, masters of the dead, necromancer type people. You've also got the shapeshifters, and Kate Daniels gets really wrapped up in the shapeshifter world, as well as having her own kind of story going on. I just love how much mythology Ilona Andrews kind of builds into the story, as well as the shapeshifters kind of have to fight their animal side to still be human, but their animal side still influences their personality and who they are. And the stories are just so action-packed, you just fly through them, such quick reads, but also so meaningful. I really wish that I could be a part of the shapeshifter family, although probably I wouldn't last very long since they're quite violent, but you will hear me probably talking about the Kate Daniels series a lot because it is definitely my most favorite series ever, and if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. It is an adult series, does have some romance in it, and by that I mean sex scenes. Personally, I think there's probably only about 1 per book, and I tend to just skim through them, same as I did in Empire of Storms, just by the way. Big fan of sex, not such a big fan of reading about it, but you can usually just skim past it and it doesn't have any impact on the plot. Just knowing that it happened is enough. So if you can handle skimming a couple of pages, that probably won't be an issue. Or if you like that kind of thing, then hey, there's a little bit of that in these books too. So yeah, those were my top 5 shapeshifter based books and top 5 shapeshifters. I'd love to know what other shapeshifters there are out there that I should be reading about. And thanks for watching. I will see you next time.